Should sex work be legal in the US? Why or why not? I've lived mainly in Australia and New Zealand, and prostitution is legal. Nothing bad happened when the law changed. It took sex workers off the street and into legal employment, which is safer and more regulated. Trafficking did not suddenly become more common. It's a good thing. Exactly. Plus, if I'm a legal prostitute, I will report any illegal underground prostitution that is occurring because I have a financial incentive to do so. Plus, you're not worried about getting arrested or fined if you do speak up. And so are customers who see things that look illegal. Like, if they see someone who doesn't look 18, they can go straight to the cops without risk of getting arrested. And if she is 18, she doesn't need to worry because the cops would be like, "Oh yeah, she's 18. We checked," instead of roar. Similarly, if an over 18 is being abused, etc., she can go to the cops. Even. Undefined. I guess this what I'm writing about in the middle of the night. But I actually did a research paper on this topic a little while back. Places that have legalized sex work have seen a sharp decline in reports of sexual assault among both street workers and regular women. In Rhode Island, they accidentally legalized prostitution for 6 years. And during that time, reports of rape dropped 31%. In places like Australia, the Netherlands, and Nevada, where they have legal brothels, reports of sex crimes in the general population have also decreased between 30 to 40% in the first few years, and 25% in the years after that. There's also a similar decrease in rates of STD transmissions, due to the health screenings and enforced condom use that customers have to go through at brothels. I've read a few papers attempting to disprove these facts, but their methodology seems flawed because they tend to interview registered sex offenders, rather than the general population. So there's a question of if the men being interviewed have an unnatural proclivity for sexual violence compared to normal people. The biggest concern with legalizing sex work is human trafficking. A lot of experts argue that legal brothels will need women to work. And if they can't fill the best legitimately, then they'll do it however they can. This seems like a reasonable fear. But there hasn't been enough research into the topic. From what I've researched in the past for school, a lot of the arguments against legal prostitution seem flawed and nitpicky. I'd say the social benefits outweigh the cons, and prostitution should be legalized. I'm pretty sure you just did this guy's homework for him. Lol, probably. But it's no skin off my back. Bareback, huh? Sounds risky with a prostitute. Technically, it is legal as long as you film it and just pay for the video, so then it is porn, which is fully legal. Family Guy taught me this XD. Remember, kids? She's not a hooker if she's an actress. Mattress actress. George Carlin put it best. Why is it illegal to sell something that is perfectly legal to give away for free? Selling is legal. Peeping is legal. Why is selling peeping not legal? God, I miss that man. Imagine the speep he'd say about 2020. It should be decriminalized. And there should be laws put in place to protect sex workers. Yes. Arresting people for selling their bodies makes no sense. To function in this society, you already have to give about everything else up anyways. Also, don't see the logic behind it. And I'd argue that minors, construction workers, wrestlers, boxers, and models already are selling their bodies, just in a manner that we for some reason feel is more acceptable than prostitution. Facts. I mean, yeah. It's already happening. Might as well put it under health and safety regulations. Undefined. Nevada is the US, no? We try to forget that it is. Nah, people love Vegas. We try to forget Florida. The government is pretty good at peeping me already. So, basically it's illegal because the government doesn't like competition? Yes, and it should be regulated by the government to make it safer. Like drugs, it is a health and safety issue, not a crime. Decriminalization with regulations. It can be far cheaper than pure law enforcement, and as a bonus, humane. Law enforcement has a role, just not the main role. They could actually focus on trafficking and have safety and support for victims. No. Legalization. If it is legalized, then you can have it state and government run, which means better consistency and purity, especially with drugs. Yes. Because it's nobody's business. Also, it would be more regulated and pimps wouldn't have so much control. I think you mean the Ubers of prostitution would own the market and commoditize sex workers. Try new Amazon Pimp TM, where we monitor our prostitutes non-stop to ensure they're pleasuring you with maximum efficiency. Please rate your last sex worker out of 5 stars. At the very minimum, it should be decriminalized. By making it legal and putting health regulations on it. It could actually be a fairly decent job for some individuals. Plus, of course, the government would tax it, so it would be a fairly decent source of revenue. I want to see Congress debate a peeping tax amendment. Might as well. Right along with the weed tax. It's legal in Victoria, Australia. Workers have monthly STI tests and certificates to prove they have had the tests. We support workers through outreach organizations, and we have legal brothels. We also tax monies earned. This is a good system. Not perfect, but good. Support, not criminalization. To be sexual is human, and prostitution has existed for all of our history. Humanity is like one giant insecure individual. We can't accept and embrace these parts of who we are for some reason, and it only causes pain. There is nothing wrong with wanting another human's touch, and it could very well prove to be a valuable resource one day if we embraced it in a positive manner. Undefined. Okay, tickle fap. Here in Finland, at least as I understand it, it's legal to sell sex, but not to buy. It sounds dumb, but there's a logic. It's seen that if you're selling sex, you're at the bottom, and punishing you can't help you. However, if you're buying sex, you are abusing a person who is in a very bad situation in their life. Undefined. I should have phrased it better though. I understand that there are sex workers who genuinely enjoy their job and wouldn't trade it. However, there are also sex workers who are selling sex as a last resort, and the law is there to protect them. You're thinking of Sweden. In Finland, it's legal to both sell and buy as long as there's no middleman involved. Also Canada, I believe. Is it not? It is legal here in NZ. Well, Teresa, whole world out there with different laws, lol. Generally speaking, yes. If the person is of age, is of sound mind and body, and partakes in the activity voluntarily and under no duress. The problem is, how would you ensure that a person is doing it under duress or not? Either physical, economic, addictions related, etc. Unfortunately, the devil is in the details. How do they ensure it now, when it is underground? Yep. Historically, prostitution laws were designed to keep women dependent on men. Even in 1750, if you were a sex worker, you had control of your own life. I'm of two minds. On the one hand, I don't see a problem with what two consenting adults do. If one wants to pay another for sex, fine with it in theory. On the other hand, the situation is ripe for abuse in so many ways. It would have to be a licensed, inspected, regulated environment to make sure vulnerable people weren't being exploited and proper safety was being observed. Yes, but some rules. Condoms only. Monthly sexual checkups. Must pay taxes. No reason not to pay income tax from a legit job. After all. It is an unfortunate reality that many sex workers join the industry not because they want to, but simply because they need to make ends meet. It should be decriminalized, not legalized. Legalization creates means-testing barriers for entry, much like in other industries, in the form of taxing, licensing, and further regulation that allow aspiring sex workers trying to make ends meet to be manipulated by pimps that can sort out all the paperwork for them. Decriminalization gives more autonomy to sex workers to decide the terms of their own employment. Under legalization, sex work is controlled by the government and is legal only under certain state-specified conditions. Decriminalization involves the removal of all prostitution-specific laws. Although sex workers and sex work businesses must still operate within the laws of the land, as must any businesses. Undefined. Leave a like and a comment if you liked the video. Check out more Reddit-related video. I am posting them daily. Subscribe to see more Reddit content.